So here's how they're. So then they went to that sheriff, and then they come back to the newsroom at MSNBC and listen to what they said.
Pete, police still have that perimeter around the wildlife refuge, right?
That's right. They've stepped up security there, and their message from that very brief news conference today was largely aimed at the people still at the wildlife refuge, which was, you need to leave now. Let's end this peacefully. What they said is, if you're there and you leave, we'll just take your name and then you can go. They didn't say that they were going to move in to try to arrest them.
Yes, exactly, right? Because now these are guys they just had to kill one of them.
Right.
They just had to kill one of them.
If I was one of those people, I would take that. That's a good deal, man.
Sounds like a
you
good
can
deal.
Just leave your name and go home.
Sounds like a good deal. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And shouldn't the cops be lying, using the media to convey a false message, and then arrest them as soon as they come to sign the paperwork? Like, or is that immoral and unethical? Because cops lie all the time. They're allowed to lie in certain situations and interrogations.
Well, they can use what they do to get people who have arrest warrants.
Yeah.
Is they send them a notice saying you have won a free boat,
a gun.
No, it's true. And then you have won or this stuff is yours. Come pick it up, and then people go to these places and then they get arrested.
Yeah, they do that with felons when they.
But I think
some deception is allowed.
Though I think this is sincere that they're like, it's not worth it for us to go through the problem of arresting you. We got the Bundy boys. That's kind of the symbolic arrest we needed. And by the way, that infuriates me.
Yes.
These guys committed domestic terrorism. They took over a very substantial piece of federal land at gunpoint. They took over essentially the town next to it at gunpoint. I mean, these guys are domestic terrorists. And I agree with the FBI and the ATF's decision to, like, let's just let this peter out and everything. But part of me is also like, these guys need to spend the rest of their lives in a federal penitentiary.
They're criminals. They're criminals.
They are the worst criminals.
If it was a group of Black Panthers or Muslims or Earth Liberation Front guys, this is the only demographic that would get this special treatment. For sure.
Yeah, and they don't refer to them as thugs.
Yeah. They don't refer to them as criminals or armed terrorists or any of that stuff. They just said the people in the wildlife refuge. They said the people. That's how the news reporters refer to them, as the people in the wildlife refuge. All you have to do is leave. Just leave your name and go. So, they're begging armed terrorists. We're going to let you go. Just get out of here. That's unbelievable. And the news people aren't doing backflips. Like, what's wrong? They never bring up how they would treat other people differently, but we bring it up here. Why is it that's the first thing out of our lips when something like this gets on TV? The first thing we say is, wow, they wouldn't treat other people that. But those news people on TV never say that. Why is that, Frank?
Racism.
Okay.
Well, I have this is what I was going to say earlier. They know they're operating under an ideological and media microscope. They know that their response is going to be analyzed and dissected, and that there's a right-wing media that's powerful that is going to jump all over this as they already are. But if they blew it, like they took a David Koresh sort of response, it would be propaganda, and so they're giving a lot more deference to the way it's going to be interpreted later on, because they know that this is the kind of terrorism that we tolerate, because this is expression, this is freedom fighters, so they know there's a narrative being built around that the media doesn't report if it's Black people they're killing or Muslims they're targeting, profiling. So these guys are protected by this white privilege bubble that surrounds the entire country.
Well, I don't even know how this is going to play out. I mean, eventually these guys are going to have to go to federal prison. But the thing that infuriates me is that, like, there are a ton of people in this country who the FBI has essentially entrapped into buying weapons and claiming that they looked at, like, imams online, who they've dropped down a federal penitentiary hole for nothing, essentially. And these guys who have openly said, we want to overthrow the government, we have guns, we want to fight the ATF, we want this to happen. And these guys are never going to see serious jail time on that. They should be in Guantanamo.
They never imprisoned Bundy the first time this happened down in Texas. Nothing ever happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the reason why you have to prosecute people when they commit crimes, one of the reasons is deterrence, right? Because if you don't prosecute a crime, it guarantees it will happen again, which is why Barack Obama should have prosecuted those war crimes and those torturers, because it guarantees it will happen again. In fact, the Republican candidates have promised that they will waterboard and commit war crimes again. So because no one went to jail for it, we have to reestablish that crimes are crimes.
But in this instance, it's a really tough call, because by letting this peter out, they have made sure that these guys just look stupid. Like, by letting it just kind of peter out and not making a big deal out of it and everything, they've ensured that like these guys, every time these guys have a call to arms, they look dumber and dumber.
Well, now they got,
dumber.
but they actually did kill someone.
And that's why it's surprising. 'cause
I'm hoping that Eamon Bundy in jail, that one of his fellow prisoners claims eminent domain over his asshole.